A good day. I am Dr.R.RAVINDRAKUMAR, Professor, Biomedical Engineering Department, KIT Karnataka Institute of Technology, Coimbatore, India. So today we are going to see a small demo to how to uh, visualize and analyze the physiological signals by using an EDF browser. So in biomedical instrumentation and signal processing, the students will be using different equipments to observe the physiological signals of the human body. So for example, the signals can be of electrocardiogram, electroencephalogram, electroocculogram, so etc., myogram, etc. So these signals, when obtained from the equipment from the hospital, they will come up with the different standards and different dot parameters. Like some files will be on .dat format, and some files will be images will be on normally with the .jpeg format or .dicom format. So dicom is one of the thing which has been used format, which is used for image processing. So similarly for the physiological signals, the most used formats are the .dat and EDF databases. So today we will see one example of how to see the signal. So this is, as you see in the screen, the software, the name is called, the application name, we call it as the EDF browser. So in the EDF browser, we can able to see different type of signals like ECG, fetal ECG, EEG, EMG, etc. So today to visualize a signal, today we will take the electroencephalogram, that is the physiological signal for the human brain study that we will see today. And if you see this screen, the screen is there is a back screen with the black in color, and there are different icons. So we'll go to the file and give it as open. And I'm already have stored some databases, so I'm giving as one example. So it gets loaded. So this is in the format of the European database. So if you see that there is an ECG signal, you can see that this is a multi-channel signal because most of the physiological signals are multi-channel. So these signals has been recorded by using different electrodes. So each electrodes will have its own signals, and it signifies any one of the features or parameters. For example, for the EEG, we will be taking a signal from different lobes. So we call it as the occipital lobe, temporal lobe, and frontal lobe. So each lobe has its own significance. For example, if you take the temporal lobe, the reading taken from the temporal lobe gives us the information about the audio signal analysis of a human brain. And if you take the frontal lobe, we can able to read the cognitive functions, the cognitive functions of the brain that can be observed from the frontal lobe. So each lobes of the human brain has its own features, and these own features will come up with the information of what the brain is analyzing. So a brain can analyze any type of information. So the information can be of different types. So one, it can do any cognitive function, or it can perform any command like a motor function, that is the movement of a skeletal system. So the human brain has its functionality of both the cognitive skills, and it controls most of the activities of the human body. So if you see the signals also, it has been represented with the different signal names, and each signal names signifies one thing. So now we can see that all the multi-channel signals is being available here. In the screen you can see that. And we can select certain signals. For example, I am adding so 2 signals, example, and we can visualize it. So the signals appears on the screen. Okay, so on the screen, and you can add multiple signals also from the top-down menu. So we can see that there are different menus here, like file, session, and signals, the signal properties. So if you click the properties, you can able to see the different signal properties. So you can have that the signal you can perform the any filtering process also. So if you see the signal, the properties, so we will able to see the amplitude. So amplitude of the signal is nearly 100 microvolt. So here you can see the different features available, where in each feature you can able to remove the noise, etc. Okay, so all the features can be performed here. So for this ECG signal, so you can increase the amplitude. Accordingly, the amplitude can be increased and you can able to see the screen. So accordingly, you can see we vary the amplitude, we can able to see the amplitude of the signal. So we can see the even potential signal of the EEG waveform, which represents the different functions. So each electrodes recorded from the human scalp will have its own information. So the information will be a collective information of different functions performed from the brain for different activities. So for example, if you want to analyze the muscle functions or the movement of a skeletal system, the electrode corresponding to the motor functions has to be visualized. So before getting into the EDF browser, the student should be familiar, student or the scholar should be familiar with the signals on which they are going to work. Okay, that is very, very important, because without being hands-on experience with the EEG signals with the machine, we can't able to analyze the signals in real time. So that is the thing. Before using the EDF browser, the student or the scholar or the product designer has to be very familiar with the signals involved with the electroencephalogram and the machine which records the signal. So we should know about the machine, what are the number of electrodes used, and what is the significance of each electrode. So without this knowledge, we can't able to analyze the EEG signal. So in this panel, go to the signal and we can add more signals for the analysis purpose. So for example, if I want to check different signals from each lobes, there I can select it. For example, I want to see it from the hospital. So O1 and O2, I can add them both. And if we give the add signal, we can able to see all the signals in the same screen. Okay. So you can zoom it and the signals, and you can vary the amplitude of the signals. Okay, to visualize the signals in a better way, to see all the event potentials, we can able to see the signals in detail. And similarly, we can the time scale also can be increased, so that we can able to see the signals in little bit in a better way. Okay, so those signals can be analyzed. So we can have the options like the different annotation marker, that is on the right hand side. We can see that the different signals recorded at different time parameters. So that's very important, because the excitation or the event potential, that is the potentials which has happened at the time, so those times will be appearing on the right hand side of the thing. And the most of the signals are very relative. So from where the reading is taken, accordingly the time scaling will be shown. So next we can see that there are several type of filters. So for example, here we have the power line interference removal for EEG signals. So you can use the power line interference, as we know that the power line interference is 50 Hz in country like India, and abroad it is 60 Hz. So we have these two options here. So either you can go with the 50 Hz or the 60 Hz option, and we can choose the signal. Okay, we can choose the signal, and accordingly the filtering can be performed on the signal. So similarly, there are different filtering process here for different. Then we have the FIR filter. So the FIR filter signal, you can see that it is the low pass filter signal with the frequency, sampling frequency has been given, and the cutoff frequency has been given. So accordingly, we can design the design option. If you give that, the coefficients will be appear here for the filters. So these coefficients can be taken, and you can use that. The same coefficients can be used in the MATLAB also. So it's very compatible with other softwares also. So this software helps us. It's free of cost. So it has been very effective. So where you can able to design of any filters of whatever is required, you can change the sampling frequency here, and you can change the cutoff frequency. So depending upon the feature of the EEG signal. For example, if you want to measure the motor functions, so accordingly the frequency ranges will differ. For example, if you're going to analyze the cognitive functions of a human brain, so accordingly it varies. Okay. So sometimes we can have a integrated analysis. For example, EEG signal will be kept here, and we will have the MRI. For example, if we go with the signal like functional MRI, the cognitive functions, especially like for students, children suffering from dyslexia. Okay, those students will have those issues. Or example, if a patient is having problem with the Parkinson disease. So now we measure the motor functions for Parkinson's disease. For dyslexia, we will be measuring the cognitive skills. So that makes the difference. So according to the patient and the disease, we can able to select what is the signal we are going to analyze, whether we are going to analyze the cognitive functions of the patient, or we are whether going to analyze the motor functions of the patient. So accordingly, the choice of the electrode should be made, and what is the type of filter, what is the sampling frequency, all the things should be determined prior, and then only we have to sit with the software and they can do it. So if we take this design, so they can filter so according to the specifications. So here you have a choice of which filter we have to use. For example, if you want to remove the power line interference, we go with the band stop filter, and the frequency ranges we can able to set. For normally for clinical applications, the frequency range will be a little bit more when compared with the general one. So accordingly, the frequencies can be changed, and you can design the filter, and the filter can be applied. Okay, it's very easy that the filter can be applied on that. So proper sampling has to be applied before applying. And similarly, we can see different montages also available. Okay, so and the next thing is we have the big toolbox available here, where it helps us to convert from one platform to the another platform. So for example, here the case, if you want to convert into a CSV file, for example, the screen which I'm keeping, the screen, the mouse, you can see that is the exportation of EDF into CSV file, where all these data will be available in an comma separated value file. That is nothing but an Excel file, looks like an Excel file with all the columns, or how many electrodes I'm using. All the electrodes will be presented in each column, and the values will be presented. So you can able to use the command like CSV read command in MATLAB. By using that command, you can read the CSV file into a MATLAB, and you can analyze there also. Because this is a this analysis in EDF browser will look like a very good GUI, okay, graphical user interface. But in MATLAB, still you can do with a very little bit of complicated analysis also can be added. So for normally for EEG, multiple signals we normally add. Okay, if you give a remove all the signals will be removed. So now you can add all the multiple signals can be added here. So for example, select all, and I'm giving add, all the signals gets added. And sometimes you will see warning message and add those signals. So you can see that the complete EEG signals is available. Okay, the complete EEG signals will be available. So you can see each signals in detail. Okay, you can see the signals. Now accordingly, you can do the time scaling, and you can see the signals in a better way of all the signals represented in the amplitude and time scales. Okay, so all this in a single screen, you can able to see all the signals, and each signal has its own features. So this signals, whichever signal is required, you can keep those signals, and accordingly, that signal and that time period you can convert into a CSV file, and you can take it into a MATLAB. So manually, if the student or the scholar or the product designer is interested in only with one particular signal or of this much time period, you can able to take that time period alone, and that can be converted into a CSV file, and accordingly those signals can be analyzed by using a MATLAB. So this software helps us with the different features, and these features are very helpful for analyzing the EEG signals in a research level or for a product design also. So very complex signals like EEG. Okay, ECG is very easy to analyze, but EEG signals are very difficult, and even the myogram signals in the low frequency area is very difficult to analyze the detail of the muscle activity. So those signals can be brought here, and we can able to analyze it in a detail. Okay, so this software is very useful for the students, and in the next class we will see the detail of how to extract those signals and how to analyze it. Thank you.